Visa and MasterCard, particularly Visa, has been having a very, very, very bad week. After effectively capitulating to the 20 most aggrieved Karens on the internet, they are now facing a deluge of negative sentiment. People are calling them and saying, what the fuck are you doing, trying to censor everything. I think people should keep calling,
too. We got a hilarious
Keep calling until they totally stop doing this. And even that won't be a solution. The solution is to push for legislation to make it to where they can't do it.
Update on the payment processor situation. Yep. Quick context to this. Early on, when Collective Shout went after payment processors to try and get them to
Collective Shout is a literal Karen advocacy group in Australia that complains about things and just literally, it's basically, can I speak to the manager incorporated?
And Steam ended up changing their policies over all this stuff, removing certain adult games. You know the story. Mm-hmm. Well, people were coming up with ideas to fight back against the payment processors. And one of the ideas that was being shared early on was, for example, as you can see here on our Steam, 5 days ago, how to directly pressure payment processors.
That's right.
If you have a Visa card, go here. Tell Visa you're ticked.
And you have to directly pressure them. Because if you don't directly pressure them, people that want to censor you will. You don't bring a knife to a gunfight. You can, but you're going to end up dead.
You need to directly pressure them. Be nice. Don't be rude. Remember, customer service tech you're talking to didn't make the decision, but we need to stand up against censorship. Mm-hmm. And so some people are sharing their testimonials, if you will, their stories about what happened when they contacted these payment processors, and it seems like this is actually, on some level, working. So this is a good update, and also a hilarious one. So I mentioned there were some testimonials, or however you want to put it. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This user saying, Visa card representative yelled at me. I called this number and simply asked about the content guideline. I got, we've been getting thousands of calls. You talked to someone? Who did you call? Other people accepted what I said, so why don't you? And then saying at Visa is cooked. And then we also got this one saying, did what I could today, did some work, called Visa. The man was understanding, put me on hold for 25 minutes. When back, it was a new person who was very tired. I then repeated the whole story, and I could hear the sigh of energy draining when they knew what it was leading to. This one's crazy. It says, I wish this was a joke, but I got called a predator today by a Visa rep.
That's bullshit. I don't believe it.
Think I just happened to be called that.
Yeah.
Wait, think I just happened to be a call that pushed the woman over. Excuse me. Lodged 2 formal complaints after that and spun circles on the 2 calls and was about 25 minutes. Why would you get called a predator, though?
Probably because they were defending a game that that was viewed as a predator game.
Frick, dude.
That's the reason why.
We've also got this one. Says,
Visa
had a similar
kicked
issue
my
on the phone
dog
yesterday with Visa.
Wait,
in which
really?
They were hyper-aggressive. And the woman even tried suggesting that I must have been buying illegal content. What? Before launching into her, I'm going to disconnect the call now script. Wait. So, is the implication here that they're being called like predators and buying illegal content because they're fighting back against these restrictions?
Absolutely. And that's the entire Karen script. It's that if you don't agree with us, you're helping predators. And so it creates a moral high ground. In order to understand how people like this operate, think about the stupidest, most brain-dead, emotionally driven argument that you could possibly imagine. That's what they're using. It's all bullshit. Just people calling to blast customer service reps of zero power. Do we need to wait to actually put executives on blast? Oh, no, I think that we should do that, too. Absolutely. But if you just push back against it collectively, I think that's the best option. Sending emails to executives and also to other people in marketing is probably the best option. And then also especially telling them that you're ending service. I think that's another thing. But nothing will solve this problem other than legislation. But this is a nice stop. It's a nice Band-Aid for now, right? And the thing is that the goal with doing this is to make companies afraid to capitulate to advocacy groups. That is the goal. You want to create a... So you're asking somebody, like, do you want to get your hand cut off or your arm cut off? You want to make sure that making you unhappy is getting your entire arm cut off. And what I mean by that is you have to create, if you want to change people's behavior and you want people to side with you, you have to create a negative consequence that is so extreme that not going along with you will be detrimental. That's what you do. That's how it works.
Would say, like, I wouldn't expect this from people who are just like Visa hotline people. And I kind of feel bad for them on one hand because, like, they're just, you know, the who are not responsible for these policy decisions and whatnot. But, like, they shouldn't be accusing people of being predators and saying they're buying illegal content and everything. My point is, that seems like the sort of thing you would expect Collective Shout to say, right? Like, oh, you're upset with us going after these games? You must be a predator, or you must be buying illegal content or something. You know, some nonsensical point like that. But apparently these people are saying that even some of these Visa hotline people are saying stuff like this to them. Maybe I'm misunderstanding this. I'm just trying to make sense of, you know, some of these responses that people are apparently getting. And as written here, the folks applying pressure know that someone at a call center has limited power in a scenario like this. Typically, agents are equipped to handle standard customer issues like payment fraud or credit card loss. But the point is not to enact change through a specific phone call. It's to cause enough disruption that the ruckus theoretically starts costing payment processors money.
It absolutely will. It 100% will. And all you have to do is get enough people together and you can do anything that you want. You just need more people. Why do these people always target gamers? I don't know. They shouldn't have targeted the gamers, man.
Takes us back over to Japanese politician Zenko Kurishita. What's written here shows you how Collective Shout went about this and why this strategy that gamers are now using to go after payment processors is essentially fighting fire with fire. So he says, the Australian organization Collective Shout has been pushing for content restrictions on Steam and itch.io, according to records published on their website. They sent 1,067 emails to payment processors like Visa and MasterCard starting in May. If such a number of emails led to regulations that cost around 20,000 adult games to disappear, with reports also indicating that these games were removed from the libraries of users who had previously purchased them,
which is, again, stop killing games, right? That's another reason why it's important.
Even though there might have been many times more people who felt those works were fine or liked them, what about the effort put in by these creators? They are unilaterally decided without consideration. This asymmetry, along with the lack of transparency and information disclosure, is also a significant issue.
Fucking based. Absolutely fucking based Japanese. If the Japanese want to stop this, why don't they just make a law where you can't do this? It's so simple. Just say either process the payments or get out of the country. That's what I would do. And I would apply the law to one of them. And that way it's like, okay, you either follow this law or you get kicked out and your competition gets the entire market share. And that way you can effectively prisoner's dilemma both of them into doing that.
Their own website here.
Be very, very, very easy to do.
They outline some of their strategy as we just went over. And as mentioned, the point to this is, well, if Collective Shout sent around 1,000 emails for that period of a few months or whatever it was.
That's actually doing something. Visa doesn't care about these calls.
The internet can do a lot more than that. The internet can do a lot more than that, man. So it's kind of hilarious seeing these payment processors bending the knee to Collective Shout.
And also, like, Collective Shout, they're complaining that they're getting harassed. Has it ever occurred to you that harassing a bunch of other people by taking away their content because you've decided that it violates your own personal viewpoint? So let me get this straight. You've decided to be the judge, jury, and executioner of what should and shouldn't be acceptable. And now you're surprised that other people are disagreeing with you and they're being the judge, jury, and executioner of whether you should be harassed or not. Well, that's not good. I don't think harassment is good ever. But if you don't want to have trouble, don't start trouble. Why are you starting trouble and then crying about it? That's it.
And now it's like, oh, really? Okay, 1K emails and however many phone calls that these Australian feminists may have sent. Well, good luck now with the internet coming after you.
Don't start nothing, won't be nothing. Exactly. These people want to be able to tell everybody else what to do, but the moment that people start pushing back against them, they act like victims.
Now, as I said before, I think it's completely reasonable executives at these payment processors actually have no issue with Collective Shout trying to get them to do this stuff. What I mean more specifically is they want to try and abuse their power and see what they can get away with. So I don't think like the whole Collective Shout thing worked simply because they annoy these payment processors. No, I think these payment processors also saw this as an opportunity to test how much power and control they have, right? So simply annoying them back doesn't mean that they may start operating in a different way when those executives literally want to try to control the internet. But the point still stands that using the strategy of fighting fire with fire and clogging up their logistics can still harm the company.
It's absolutely detrimental. I heard from a Blizzard employee, this is a different thing, that do you guys remember, for any of the old viewers, the day that Blizzard restored my blessed battle gear of undead slaying on stream? It was not pirate. Do you remember that? Yes. They received such a massive deluge of restoration requests after that it was a legitimate problem. Yes. So I can tell you 100% that this absolutely, this totally fucks up the system. Yeah, it sets a precedent. Yeah, of course.
On Steam 4 days ago.
Dad.
This is about an email.
His dad worked at Blizzard too, right?
We read earlier regarding phone call responses. Says, so I got a response from Visa.
Yeah.
Reads, hello, redacted. Thank you for reaching out and sharing your perspective. As a global company, we follow the laws and regulations everywhere we do business. While we explicitly prohibit illegal activity on our network, we are equally committed to protecting illegal commerce. If a transaction is legal, our policy is to process the transaction.
I don't know.
We do
about
not make
that one.
moral judgments on legal purchases made by consumers.
Lying.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh. Visa does not moderate content sold by merchants, nor do we have what? They really saying that Visa does not moderate content sold by merchants, nor do we have visibility into the specific goods or services sold when we process a transaction. When a legally operating merchant faces an elevated risk of legal activity, we require enhanced safeguards for the banks supporting those merchants. For more information,
this is what they do. They operate in like very, very broad terms, like enhanced safeguards, elevated risk. Those merchants, like it's intentionally opaque in order for them to use it to push their agenda.
Please visit our network integrity page on visa.com, hyperlinked. Thank you for writing, Visa Webmaster. And as mentioned, the OP calls this out. I guess I will just remove myself for a second. It reads, so basically their response was the biggest gaslighting I've ever seen. And to block the sun with one finger. Never heard that one before. It's funny.
Yeah.
They completely deny moderating content even when there's an overabundance of evidence. Anyways, we should keep on pressuring the issue. Pressing the issue. I'll share the template I used on the first comment and the Visa website so you can give them your regards. Just remember to be polite but firm. Also, the template has been modified by me to not have invalid characters and have enough characters to send without issue, but is based on a template another user shared. Now, hypothetically, guys,
I think that's the way to do it. Never be abusive, never yell at them, never do anything that would put yourself in a situation that would get you in trouble, but be firm, insistent, and direct.
I'm just throwing this out there. I'm not saying it's a good idea, but like, if the single goal is to just like clog up their logistics and make things more complicated for the company and all that, that means you could even call them and just like make up some completely like insane story about like a fake fraud case that happened or something.
The problem with that is that they can't connect that to, I don't do this, by the way, don't do this. They can't connect that to the action.
Like, you don't even need to actually mention that it's about all this stuff, referring to, you know, like the payment process or censorship and whatnot. You could be like, dude, my freaking dog was like chewing up my credit card, and then I was trying to take it from his mouth, and like my hand slipped after I like pulled it out. Oh, that sounded kind of weird, but but the credit card like went flying, and some freaking like homeless person picked it up and ran off, and I couldn't catch him. And now I think I'm worried that there's a bunch of fake, you know, purchases. And then they're like, okay, what's your information so we can help you? It's like, dude, I don't remember. It's on the card. The card.
That's how it is.
Like, you got to help me, though. You can just, like, make up the craziest
Ramble
stuff.
story for 2,000 hours.
Oh, my gosh. Maybe that's a bad idea,
just
though.
waste your time. Yeah,
I'm not suggesting anyone actually do that.
Don't
I'm just
do
saying,
that.
though. And so back on the Reddit thread, someone basically said, like, yeah, man, all you got was a generic response, but I appreciate the effort. And the OP responds to that saying, honestly, I expected nothing, or a generic non-response email about how much they appreciate the feedback and do their best to work it out or something along those lines. What I didn't expect was such a blatant gaslighting attempt / straight up lie. Anyway, nothing new under the sun. I just thought the community might get a kick out of it. And I'll leave it there. Just thought some of this stuff was pretty amusing, and I hope you guys got a laugh out of it, despite some bad news lately.
I think that we 100% need to keep up the pressure. But again, the only real solution to this is legislation. Because the moment that a big country like Japan or America or the EU makes a ruling on this, the company will have to operate based off of that ruling in the entire world, basically. So whenever you have really big countries that you're doing business in that change their rules, it changes the way the entire company has to function.
So yeah, once again, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you. Consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed my coverage. I'll see you in the comments here and in the next one.
Yeah, I'm totally fucking advocating for this. I absolutely 100% think people should call and let them know how much they don't like this. The best thing to do, though, is to call the executives and to contact the people that are in leadership, because they're the ones that can actually make the decisions. A random customer service representative, I mean, it's better than nothing, sure, but like at the end of the day, it's not really going to solve any problems, and it's not really going to do anything. And so that's really what I think in general. And call the corporate officers. Yes, exactly, right? Yeah, call corporate officers and actually make decisions. That they're the ones that actually go and make the decisions more than anything else.